Welcome to Stop Fighting with Your Son podcast. I'm Natalia Schneimler, and I'm here to teach you how to finally stop fighting with him and love him like crazy. Because we all want to love our boys, and I am here to help you. Listen up and find out how. Hey guys, how's it going? I am doing so well. I just wanted to share a couple cute things from my life. My little kids go to a school where it's French immersion, and little ones, 4-year-olds, learned how to say I love you in French. So now they whisper in my ear, je t'aime. And my little guy whispered it to me this morning before I dropped him off, and it's just the cutest. It's so awesome. And I love languages and I love French, so it's like my two most amazing things together. My little twinsies and them speaking French to me and telling me I love you. And so I feel so lucky. I have some flowers on my desk here in my office that are beautiful, and I'm talking to all of you. And I want to talk to you today about why we fight. And I'm going to make it super short and sweet and really kind of have you walk away with this one idea today, that the only reason why we ever fight with anyone and your son is because we want to feel a certain way. For example, last night after dinner, I was finishing cleaning up some dinner like stuff that was on the table that the kids left, and I walk around to the bench that was on the other side of the table where my two big boys sit, and I see two perfectly folded napkins lying on the table, on the bench, I mean, and I see them, and I realize that when I tell my boys to put their napkins on their laps, what they do is they take the napkin and just put it on the bench. Like, they don't actually listen to me and they don't do what I ask them, which I didn't realize until that moment. So I got upset. I'm like, dudes, come on, like, put the napkins on your laps. And in that moment, I felt like, disappointed. And I felt like I was not being a good parent because they're not doing what I want them to do. And that means what I'm doing is not working, so I'm not a good parent. So here's the thing. The reason why, and so I said to my son, what? That's what you've been doing? Like, so kind of like starting a fight with him, right? Which I dropped right away, like I didn't proceed. But the reason why I wanted to fight with him and to like have him put the napkin on his lap was so that I get to feel good about how I'm parenting. Right? Which is always the reason why we fight, is because we want to feel a certain way. But the thing is, we believe in that's how we're raised, and that's how we think the whole world works, is that we only get to feel this way if the other person acts this certain way. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, if my sons have good manners at the table, then I did a good job. And the truth is, you can feel like you did a great job regardless of what they do, right? And it is the truth, because what they do you cannot control, right? And what you believe about you and what you think about you and them is in your control. And so if I see the napkin on the bench and I think, oh my gosh, damn it, I didn't do a good job, or I'm not doing a well enough job, and so they don't have good enough manners, I feel disappointed in myself. And if I think that the only way for me to feel good is for them to change their manners, then I'm going to be constantly fighting with them to change how they behave at the table. But if I recognize, hey, like the way I feel right now is disappointed, is not actually coming from the napkins on the bench, but it's coming from how I think about this in my brain right now, then I can drop the whole fighting thing, which is what I did yesterday when I said, hey, what? You guys been doing this whole time? Like, darn it. And as soon as I said it, I realized that I'm like, okay, whatever. This doesn't matter. And that was the other thought, right? That came to my brain, offered me, like, this is not worth fighting. It doesn't matter. But the truth is, it does not matter, right? Like, Where the napkins lie on their lap or on their bench does not determine how good of a parent I am, you know? And I can make it mean that I am a good parent or a bad parent, but it does not hold like the ultimate truth answer of how good of a parent I am, you know? It doesn't mean anything, in fact. So, what my brain makes it mean is going to be the experience for me of my life. So, for you, so this is the tool that I use, right? Just like, okay, if I want to feel like a proud mama, then I'm going to decide to think of myself as a mom who's doing an amazing job, regardless of what my kids do, because I cannot control them no matter how much I try. I've tried so much, and I'm sure you have as well, and we all know it does not work. And it doesn't sometimes it works, but it doesn't really, because you can't control other humans. And even when they do behave the way that we want them to behave, like let's say they did put their napkins on their laps, and I would feel good about myself. And even still, when they do what we want them to do, that still does not determine how we feel, because guess what? It's still what we think about the napkins that determines how we feel, right? So let's say the napkins are on their laps, and then I walk away thinking, oh, I am pretty awesome. I am doing a good job with their manners, right? That is the thought that would make me feel good and proud of myself, and if you make me feel like I'm doing a good job with them. It wouldn't be the napkins, it would still be the thought. So I want you to ask yourself, how do you want to feel about yourself in any given moment, like when you are, if you have a specific situation in mind with your son, or if you had a fight with him previously that you're thinking of, or in the future, ask yourself, best case scenario, how do I want to feel about me or him? And work backwards. Okay, if I want to feel loving towards him, what do I need to think to feel loving? Right? And pick a thought that feels believable to you, that actually generates love towards him, and choose to believe it and think it on purpose, even when they behave like shitheads. And my most favorite thought for my boys is they're so cute. When like that's the thought that it creates love for me for them, when they are being monkeys, when they are not listening or whatever. Like I don't always have access to it, and that's the other part I want to offer to you is, I'll leave it maybe for another episode, but sometimes people fight. Sometimes we can embrace that fighting is okay. I am okay to fight in this situation. But you know what? I'm going to talk about that in another episode, because again, the goal here for us is not to ever fight ever again, because that's not attainable, and because we are human. Humans fight. Okay? So you have always a few options available to you. One option is to create the feeling that you want for yourself and skip the fighting part, because you can't manipulate them in acting the way you want them to act. And you can just create that feeling for yourself without trying to change what they do. And the other part is you can actually make peace with some of the fighting that you do. That is always available to you. And I actually encourage you to, kind of like embrace and make space for some fighting in your life, because if we resist the fighting, then we are creating more fighting with the fighting. So just drop the fighting with the fighting and be like, yep, sometimes I fight. But in these situations, I choose not to fight. And that's another option for you. And that's all I leave you with today. How do you want to feel when you're thinking about you and your son? And you can feel that way regardless of what they do, what he does, regardless of what he doesn't do, because how you feel does not come from his behavior. How you feel comes from what you are thinking and believing in your brain in that moment. Okay? So, and if you're having trouble determining the thoughts that you're having, I would love to sit down with you and help you look at those thoughts objectively, without any judgment, with lots of love and curiosity and compassion for where you are in your life. If you want to sign up for consultation with me, go to my website, www.coachingnatalia.com, and click on the consultation or contact me, and I will contact you and we will have that chat. I'm looking forward to talking to you, and go create that feeling for yourself that you want. You don't have to wait for your son to behave in a way that you want him to behave. You can start feeling that way today. I love you. Bye.